Hello, and welcome to a very special crossover episode of Dingle All The Way and Conversation Street. My name is Lizzie, and I am joined by
Simon, your regular Dingle All The Way co-host, but more excitingly, we have also with us
Michael from Conversation Street. Hello.
Hello, and Gemma as well from the same thing.
Thanks for having us on, guys. This is very exciting and very timely with Corriedale just having been on.
Exactly, yeah, we basically thought because obviously Coronation Street and Emmerdale have just joined together in their historic and momentous crossover episode, we should have a historic and momentous crossover episode of our own between Dingle All The Way
Yeah, I am
and
feeling historic
Conversation
this
Street.
morning.
Well, especially because we've just found out that this is like the 1,000th upload for Conversation Street, isn't it?
It is. One of our listeners told us this morning because when we upload these to Podbean, it kind of tallies up the numbers as you go. Now, we just released episode 714 of Conversation Street because we don't give our bonus midweek episodes numbers. But yeah, apparently this is going to be the 1,000th thing that's on our RSS podcast feed. So it's properly historic moment.
It is.
Absolutely. Like, we are probably going to go down in history for this. Like, treasure these moments.
I mean, to be honest, I don't think many podcasts make such high numbers.
No, gosh. And much like Emmerdale came after Coronation Street and has fewer viewers than Coronation Street, we came after you and have fewer listeners. So
You're nipping at, you're getting close, aren't you? You're catching up with us in terms of viewers.
Yeah, Emmerdale. I mean, it's really exciting to do this with you guys because we always had people asking us, "Oh, is there an Emmerdale podcast? Is there an Emmerdale podcast?" So I was so excited when I was doing Soap Week last year to like see that you guys were running, and it's really fun to support the ITV soaps, especially now we've got the crossover. So we have a shared universe finally confirmed.
yes, true. Same characters appearing in both now. Yeah, and not just the same actors.
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't know whether you knew this, but I was reminded of it just this morning that back on the Dingles Go to Venice straight to VHS episode from 1999, what's her name? Mandy meets up with Reg Holdsworth, who had been a Coronation Street character up until the mid-90s.
Yeah, that's so funny.
It's on YouTube, and I think I'd heard of it before, but never kind of sought it out. But you can watch it, and it's her on her honeymoon with I don't know, I barely know anyone from Emmerdale now, but they get to Venice, and Reg Holdsworth is there welcoming them, and as pervy as ever.
That was back when soaps had the big budgets to do these sorts of things.
Yeah.
When was the last time that Emmerdale went abroad?
Oh gosh, I really don't know.
Certainly, like I'd say early 2000s. It's been a while.
I would say the same for Corrie. It's maybe like 2006, 2007, maybe. I don't know whether we'll see those days again, sadly.
Yeah, we're lucky if we get to go out to like the Yorkshire countryside now. That's like,
They didn't
bus
even
trip
go to
out.
London.
Yeah.
Yeah, to me, as like a comparatively recent viewer of soaps and Emmerdale in particular, like the idea of them leaving the country, I'm like, wow, they did that once. That's crazy.
I suppose Corrie went to Wales a few years ago. Does that count?
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
That's exciting. That's big. Yeah.
Yeah, in a way. Well, Tom and Belle like were supposed to be in Wales, but they were just in like a different cottage on the side.
Yeah, they go to anonymous countryside at some distance quite often, but you're like, I'm pretty sure I can see the Emmerdale village in the background. But yeah, okay.
We had like a dodgy. No, it wasn't. It was a very nice hospital where Bethany had her procedure. Where was that?
Oh yes, Turkey. Yeah, a couple of years ago, Corrie was supposedly in Turkey, but
it was just the normal set, but with blue wallpaper.
Yeah.
We love the set designers. They do a great job.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not talking about that. Oh, we're talking about Corriedale.
Exactly.
Yes, thank you for getting us into order. Lizzie, you had a schedule for us, didn't you?
Well, a vague sort of outline, but I know obviously we'll go off track straight away, and indeed we have. But I thought it would be sweet to share, first of all, like, what is our experience or knowledge of the other person's soap? So Conversation Street, I feel like you guys seem to know a lot more about Emmerdale than we know about Coronation Street. But yeah, what is your experience of Emmerdale up until this point?
Not much. Like, I don't think we'd really watched much, had we? Last summer, we went to the Emmerdale Village tour.
I watched that video. It was so good.
Yeah,
so fun.
That was really fun. In the week running up to that, we watched a few episodes of Emmerdale, didn't we? I think.
Yeah.
Just
that was with John running around again.
Oh yeah, that was with John running around with a bow and arrow.
We're like, this guy just.
That's right.
You've had so much John content.
He loves to run with a weapon. Yeah, that's his MO.
Which was funny for us as well because he used to be in Coronation Street too.
Of
So it's
course.
funny seeing him playing someone else. Yes, we watched a little bit of that, and then we went to the village tour. And it was worth watching because we could then say, "Oh, I recognise that place," and kind of gives you a bit of an understanding of where things are. And obviously, there are some big Emmerdale moments and character names that we knew of, like we've heard of the plane crash.
Yeah.
We knew that there were one or two Dingles on the programme, but really, I don't think I knew very much about it. But we did from Christmas up to Corriedale watch Emmerdale just so that we were sort of properly up to date with it. Do you know any more than me, Gemma?
No, not really. I mean, I really remember it coming on my radar when who plays Kim Tate?
Claire King.
Yeah, she came into Corrie and she played another character, Erica. I really liked her, and it was the same that happened when Stella came into the show because she was from EastEnders.
Yeah, Michelle Collins.
And they're like, I've got a big one from another soap, and they're in our show now. And Erica didn't really have a good time of it, and I wasn't super. I mean, I really liked her, but people weren't super impressed by her.
No, it didn't go down
in her in Emmerdale, she's fantastic. So that's kind of like where it sort of started on my radar. But what do you guys know about Corrie?
Shall I go first?
Yeah, you go
I think I know more than you, but that's so low bar. I've never seen a full episode of Coronation Street, but I even the one between Emmerdale and Corriedale I did not watch, which really I should have done. But,
it's only 22 minutes.
I know. Well, I watched the Emmerdale one like first thing that morning because they released it on YouTube that morning, and then I came back for Corriedale in the evening. But I used to read Inside Soap magazine like late 90s, early 2000s, like religiously. At that point, I only watched Neighbours, and Neighbours content was very minimal in Inside Soap. So it's like if I'm buying it, I'm reading every single article in here. And I still read the Digital Spy soap section for, decades. So I basically know the big hitters and the big stories that are going on in Corrie without ever having seen them. So like there were people in this show, like, your Ken Bowler, your David Platt, they're like the big names who've been there a long time who are like, I've never seen you move, but I've seen your face in stills for a long time.
It's funny.
It's kind of like you're being told it by like your gran or something about
yeah.
You've never been to, like hearing all this gossip secondhand, going, interesting, what's David up to now?
Exactly. It's like, oh, you're real. You're not just like a photo on a mantelpiece.
Like everyone is a friend of a friend to you.
I've done a bit of reading into Emmerdale. I don't know when, at some point, having done this podcast for so long, just because I'm interested in the history of soap opera in general. So we know a lot about how Corrie started. So I've like looked on the Wikipedia pages about like what was Emmerdale like when it started. Obviously, we knew it as Emmerdale Farm growing up. We saw that was how it was advertised there. But yeah, reading a little bit about how it was back in the early days is always really fascinating to me.
I didn't know that it started off as a daytime soap and then moved. That's really interesting. Yeah, because I did a quiz about Emmerdale on our podcast yesterday for Michael, and I was reading the Wikipedia page. Interesting. They changed the name. Wow, yeah, I know that.
Yeah. And Lizzie, how about you?
Well, I feel like my knowledge of all soaps is very sparse. I didn't really get into soaps in any way until being good friends with Simon, and I always knew that Simon was a big fan of Neighbours, and then he was visiting me. I live up in Leeds, and so he said, I used to watch Emmerdale, like, do you want to go on the Emmerdale village tour? And I was a bit like, oh yeah, I guess so, like that's not something I've ever really thought about doing before. And so then I watched a few episodes of Emmerdale before we did the tour, just so that I understood, like a bit like you did. And then after that just ended up carrying on watching Emmerdale. So I think because my sort of experience of any soaps has been just quite slim over the last sort of 18 months really, and it's been pretty Emmerdale focused, I know even less about Coronation Street. But it's been really fun to sort of pick things up along the way. I know that Chris Bisson, who plays Jay in Emmerdale, was also in Coronation Street as Vikram. So I think similar to you, and I knew that like Claire King had been in Coronation Street before as well, a few bits and bobs, but really not a lot at all. Heard of Roy's Rolls.
They have a lot of crossover with the writers and directors as well.
Yeah.
Who is it that directed Corriedale?
Oh gosh, can't remember what his name
Duncan
is.
Foster.
That's it, Duncan Foster.
He's worked on both soaps. I don't know if the writer has as well, but there's so much crossover between the two anyway. And obviously you've got the shared executive producer Ian McLeod who does both soaps, and I was reading about where his inspiration came from for doing Corriedale, and I think it was commute that he did between the two sets.
Oh, really?
Going along the M62, which I think is the one that was closed in Corriedale.
Yes.
Sure, yeah.
I hate this road so much. And just imagining, I guess he was just imagining crashing.
Yeah, it's lucky that this diversion off the M62 was only like 10 vehicles, all of whom lived in either Coronation Street or Emmerdale.
I was thinking, like, where was everybody else?
We're all soap fans. We know that coincidences do happen on a regular basis.
There's like a running joke in Corrie sometimes where the ring road will be closed, and that's why whenever there's some kind of disaster, it always takes the ambulance and the police a long time to get there. It was like, the ring road's closed. It's like,
I think that's what it was
Never
during
been
the
open.
crash, wasn't it? The ring road or something was closed, which is why it took days for
yeah.
Yeah, at least in Emmerdale, it's quite, you can always rely on there being no phone signal for any emergency because there isn't any phone signal in like the Yorkshire countryside. Whereas, you know, Coronation Street, you might
they
expect a
even
bit
had
better.
that, didn't they?
Yeah,
Because you said you didn't watch the preceding Coronation Street, and as Carla was being driven through the Dales by Kit, she was there on her phone trying to contact Becky, going, I haven't got a signal. Oh, Lisa, sorry. Yeah.
So you must have been quite mystified by the
Oh
stuff.
my gosh.
Yeah.
We were so confused.
Even more than we were with Emmerdale. We did watch a bit of it, but I was still, when I was watching Aaron, John and Rob, I was like, why doesn't this guy fancy the other one? Oh, they're half brothers.
They are brothers, yeah.
I only found that out at the end, I think. Oh no, the episode after we watched the episode after.
Yes, we watched Tuesdays.
And I was like, oh, I see. Yeah, that makes more sense.
Although we do sort of have a running joke about how like John and Aaron never really had any chemistry, and now that John and Robert are interacting, they seem to have a strange amount of chemistry considering they are blood relatives.
Yeah, we had a theory that it turns out they weren't brothers and then they would get together just because they had so much more chemistry than the man that John was supposedly in love with. But
it
did not happen.
No. I feel because I was like, yeah, it seems like these two would be better. Hey,
I think that you didn't know going into Corriedale that Jacob was it a trainee doctor or something?
Yeah,
Well,
he's a medical student.
I think they filled in the blanks when he kind of jumped out and started putting.
To be fair, he doesn't do a lot of it. He's very rarely at work. So.
Well, that's the same with we've got people like we have a character called Daniel who is a teacher, and he is always just marking in the cafe.
Yeah, and as a teacher myself, I can tell you that that's not exactly how it works.
There's a lot of marking, I guess, but other things are involved, it would seem.
Yeah, and I don't do it in the cafe or the pub, I'll tell you that.
No, during work.
Yeah, I think I was able to keep up pretty well with what was going on. I think, who was it? Liam, the other character that turned up in Corriedale?
Yeah.
And
also
Chad.
a doctor, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think they'd been in the preceding week's Emmerdale too much, so I wasn't really sure about what was going on with them. But the main story beats, apart from, when the big reveal with Graham came, we were like, who's that then?
Well, so was I.
Lizzie's in the same boat, yeah.
I was just like, Simon, who's this person who everyone seems to be quite like excited to see?
And because I stopped watching between 2018 and a couple of years ago, he was in when I stopped watching, but he'd only been in for like a year, so I missed like 2 years of him. And when I stopped watching, he was quite a peripheral, I think quite boring character, but it must have become more interesting in the time after I stopped watching.
Right, so you were kind of like nonplussed by this.
When I saw him, I was like, oh, really him? Okay, fine.
Really?
But
he was killed off in Emmerdale like 6 years
in like
ago.
4 different ways, it seems like,
He
yeah.
was definitely dead. Like,
well, we had Becky in ours, who she was the one who got arrested in the ambulance. She was supposed to be dead, but she was never actually a character in the show.
No.
She appeared with Lisa, who's the blonde lady, the blonde cop, and she was supposed to be dead, and then she came back from the dead, and everyone was like mad.
I do sometimes think this when I'm watching any show, or particularly Neighbours did this a lot. I'd look at a scene and just think, how many of these characters were dead at one point? And you're all just like chatting. Like if one of my friends came back from the dead, that's all I would talk about for maybe the rest of my life.
Yeah, it's a little bit Dallas, isn't it? Luckily, the people don't do it too much.
I remember talking to one of the storyliners about like how why don't people react. They would remember that this happened to them, because quite often some unusual circumstance will happen, but it's happened like to 3 other people in the same scene, but they never know, that happened to me. And he said if we had it like that, then you would never stop talking about what had already happened, and they'd all have PTSD.
Get nothing else done. It's too. Yeah, so I think one of the things on Lizzie's list was like trying to guess what was happening. You've done really well at understanding because you did some actual research into Emmerdale. But I did watch I watched the little 1.5 minute clip on YouTube of like what's been going on. So I knew there was this I can't remember her name, the lady with short blonde hair who's got dementia.
Debbie, yes,
Debbie. She's and was maybe kidnapped by somebody or being driven by someone a baddie.
That's really interesting because what happened was that's her brother, but we have a theory that it's actually her son. That's what we're kind of banking on at the moment. So
we've been thinking that for a few weeks now. We keep thinking, well, surely they'll reveal it this week. Surely they'll reveal it in Corriedale. And as of now, they still haven't.
So they look a lot younger than us.
There's about 17, 18 years difference.
They're half brother and sister.
Yes,
gotcha.
So he is a bit of a villain, and he was going to escape to Germany with a bunch of money he'd stolen off her without her knowledge. And so that's why when they're driving, she says something like, he says there's nothing more to say, and she says something like, yeah, but there is, and then they crash, and we were all expecting her to say, I'm your mum, or something like that.
Oh gosh, you could have done a whole EastEnders you're not my mother, yes I am moment.
There's been a couple of moments where she's almost said it. So so she's got dementia, so that storyline has been going on for a year. Well,
nearly a year. She's still in the early stages, and they're saying that it's going to keep running until at least next year.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what was going on with those two.
That's interesting.
I knew. I've known about Todd, I guess, because he's been around forever. So I've read about him. I knew about the gay vicar because that was the thing I read about. Didn't know about the third guy in the love triangle, who and also didn't know what on earth was going on. I read subsequently about him locking him in place with the seatbelt, because at the time he just looked like he was hugging him, and then I was like, I don't know what he's meant to have done because it was so dark, and I was just I could see he's done something bad, but it looked like he just gave him a hug.
Yeah, Billy the vicar, he unfastened himself to escape. I don't know why he waited for Theo to come in before he tried to rescue himself, and then because Theo has been abusing Todd, and Todd was about to escape from that situation. Billy was literally driving him to safety. Theo rocked up right as they were about to leave, invited himself back with them, and so that's why Theo basically fastened his seatbelt back in and left it there to die, because Billy has kind of been a thorn in his side for preventing him from really having a proper influence over Todd.
Yeah, because Todd and Billy used to be an item, and Theo is madly jealous of Billy.
Yeah. I mean, the last time I checked in, Todd and Billy were an item. That's what I knew of them. But and indeed, the vicar in Emmerdale did say that he knew Billy in this week's episodes, and he was sad to hear about his death. And my dad is a retired vicar, and that rang very true. They all know each other.
I was going to ask how true that was, Simon, because I was like, sure, there's loads of vicars. Would they really all know each other?
You'd think, but whenever I mention a vicar, Dad's like, oh yeah, I know. Yeah, I went to theological college with him. Or it's like, okay,
wow.
It was quite interesting tuning into Tuesday's Emmerdale, and they seem to carry on talking about Corriedale a lot more than Corrie did, and people from Corriedale, whereas John Sugden's got the odd mention, but I don't even think by name on Coronation Street since.
Really?
Yeah, they haven't really.
No, and obviously Tuesday's Emmerdale, there was a lot of flashbacks to the night before with what was happening with John as well. But yeah, Corrie, they've mentioned, Billy's dead, and so they're going to mention it. But it felt like the momentum was there more for Emmerdale, sorry, would you say?
And Emmerdale, we noticed that you guys in the episode before Corriedale, there was that Yorkshire versus...
the Yorkshire versus Lancashire newspaper headline. And
then Kim on the cobbles.
Damn cobbles, but Corrie didn't really
Corrie was like, we're not going to...
we don't care about that.
It's like one of those dates where one of them's much more invested than the other one. Like Emmerdale's so exciting, Corriedale's like, okay, I guess we can meet up.
But I've got to go. I've got to go quick.
Yeah.
Well, Simon, you were saying about, I can't remember where you'd seen it, but somebody was saying Emmerdale kind of felt like they were really gearing up towards Corriedale in a way that Coronation Street maybe weren't. And there was, so the storyline that we have had sort of dragging on for a really long time is a county lines, teenagers involved in drug stuff with April and Dylan, and then it sort of spiraled into human trafficking as well. But we've basically been seeing the same repeat seen basically, I don't know, for like 2 months now, of like just the situation getting worse and worse and more threats being made, and it doesn't feel like it's progressed at all. And we were like, in retrospect, we wondered if they were kind of trying to stretch it out until so that it could come to some sort of head in Corriedale. But like,
I feel like that story came into it because a lot of people on our Facebook group who watch Emmerdale were trying to help us, and they were all saying this April storyline is going to be probably what brings them together, because Becky, who was the cop who got arrested, the lady with short hair who got arrested in the ambulance, she was an undercover police officer that was corrupt, who was working with a gang, and we were all thinking, and then she's got a link to Hull. She was going to go to Hull. To escape from the country, and so we were all thinking this is how it connects.
Yeah, that would have been perfect.
That would have made so much sense.
And the new family that's just moved into the Rover's Return have come from Hull as well. And they didn't even get a look in. They've not even been in it all.
I think it was sponsored by Hull. I think Hull was like
That's so unusual.
Well, the one moment it did have, which I think was a real blink and miss it, is that when Jay was in the van, he moved something and you saw dead Ray's face on the ground of the van. But like, obviously, if you don't know who Ray is, that wouldn't have made any sense to anyone. No. But you mentioned on your a recent episode of Conversation Street that you're like, gosh, Emmerdale's had like 3 deaths in the last week. That's so dramatic. And it's felt very abrupt for us because, as Lizzie said, that storyline has really outstayed its welcome. It's just dragged on for so long. I think everyone's really bored with it. And then suddenly, very abruptly, like all the main players in it are dead, or like everything's finished. A lot of the key scenes happened off screen.
Yeah, like you just find out they were dead, and you're like, oh, we've sort of been waiting for that for, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, and now we didn't even get to see it.
Is Bear dead?
We think so.
Well, we're led to believe he is, yeah. I didn't think he would be.
We haven't seen a body, so as we know in soaps, that means he may well not be dead, but they are making it seem like he is.
So what did you guys think about the fact that you had John died in Corriedale, but you had 3 deaths coming up to you? You had Celia, Ray and Bear. Do you feel like a bit shortchanged? Do you think that they should have died in the episode, or what do you think about that?
I mean, I'm mostly thrilled they're dead. Not Bear. I'm sad about him, but I'm so sick of the other 3 that I wanted them all to die. So, but I do feel I don't think they needed to stretch this storyline up till Corriedale because it didn't really pay off particularly. So I wish the Celia Ray death, whodunit, all that sort of thing we're going to get, because there's a big whodunit about who killed Ray now. And I wish that had been maybe 2 months ago, and I think that would have worked. And then the John death could have been this one in a different storyline. Whereas we've just got it's not a whodunit for John, because we know it's Victoria. She's already
Although I still think maybe John might be alive, because John, I don't know if you caught this, but John's big thing when he was still in the village was that he is an old military medic, and he used to inject people with sedatives so that he could be seen as a hero when he brought them back round. And then sometimes it went wrong and people died. So what he had in that what's it called, syringe, was a sedative that he was going to use on Vic, but then Vic used it on him.
Right.
And I don't know if it was a lethal dose, or maybe he wasn't just hoping to sedate her, but he does love her. Like, she is his sister. And so I wonder whether he's actually alive.
Oh my goodness me.
But oh wait, didn't they say they found a body? Maybe that does mean he's dead.
Oh,
but we haven't seen the body. I thought the police said they'd found the body, but we haven't seen the body. So I think it's all up in the air.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything, it's all on the table.
Yeah, Graham's dead and cremated, yet he's still.
And can you tell us more about this police officer that John whacked over the head? Who's he?
Oh, that's Kit. See, he's a very controversial figure in Coronation.
I don't like
I love him. He's great. He is out for himself. He's more of an antagonist. He's like, he works with Lisa, who's the blonde lady. She's like one of the, she's the fandom's biggest character.
Yeah, you can't be online without hearing about Swala.
Yeah. So he's kind of like her co-worker / rival.
Yeah. And
sometimes he will help her out, and sometimes he will compete with her because he wants, he's very ambitious.
Well, yeah, he's also a bit of a bent copper as well, isn't he?
He's bent for justice.
Yes.
He will bend so that he gets his man.
Okay.
He doesn't care about,
I like that.
Stuff,
he might do a bit of evidence planting if it's for the greater good.
And that sounds like if Kane Dingle was a police officer.
Yeah.
I think it's great. Very chaotic. But at the moment he's being a good guy, isn't he? He's kind of trying to help Lisa out a bit, and solving the crimes.
Yeah. So he's been in the show for what, 2 years now, I think, is he?
He's relatively new. He came in about the same time as Lisa became a main character.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
And I assume he's recovered from his bash on the head now. He's fine.
He's fine.
Yeah, we had a couple of episodes without him, didn't we?
But he came into the Rovers
he's up and about
during
now.
last week, and everyone was saying to him, "What's going on? Who's this? Who's that? What happened?" And he's like, "The investigations are ongoing, and I cannot reveal any more information." So I think they're knowing stuff that they don't know.
Yeah,
he's the one who rescued Carla from the
shipping container.
She's the one who ran in front of Billy's minibus to stop them from crashing into.
Yes, we were saying on our episode a while ago, we knew we had this vote for which pairing of Emmerdale and Coronation Street would get their scene, and there was never any doubt that it was going to be Charity and Carla.
Like 70%, didn't it?
And it was a fun scene. I enjoyed it.
It was a fun scene, but it did seem a bit shoehorned. Like, it's not very in character for Charity. I don't know if it is for Carla, but it seemed a little bit like there was sort of, we should put this in.
Carla was being very subdued, actually. I thought Charity was coming on to her, but Michael didn't get.
Oh no, I think she
was a bit. Yeah.
I didn't pick up on it. I really enjoyed the scene. I thought it was a great scene, and from what little I knew of Charity from 2 weeks watching, it felt pretty in character for both of them. And you probably didn't get. There was a line about
the coat,
yeah. and that's been quite a thing that people have been very disparaging of Becky's coat in the last
terrible fashion. Yeah,
I enjoyed you unpacking that on your episode. I was like, that's a nice nod. Yeah. Well, when Charity said not this time, that's because the Swallow fans are rivaled only by the Vanity fans, who are Vanessa and Charity.
Awards, where they were up for an award, and the whole. It seemed like everyone else was there for Emmerdale, and they were all shrieking, weren't they, about Vanity? And we were like, oh my god.
Yeah. And they're currently like nemesis at the moment, but we think they could end up back together.
I think they're going to end up back together. I think that...
we were watching them going, they were Vanity. That's Vanessa and Charity, because I'd never really.
Yeah.
No, we don't only heard of.
I'd seen Charity.
Charity, but I didn't know who Vanessa was.
No,
so that was quite.
Well, the guy that Charity was with, Mac, that she was with, is that she cheated on Vanessa with Mac, and that's when their relationship started.
Right.
And I'm sure you picked up some of the like secret baby. She's carrying her granddaughter's baby at the moment as a surrogate. That's what she thinks, but actually it's Ross's. But then everyone thinks it might be Mac's. So there's no one knows the actual truth of who this is except for Ross.
When's the baby due, roughly?
Such a good question.
Gosh, it feels interminable. I guess
it just feels like she's been pregnant forever, but I actually don't really know.
We sort of thought she'd give birth at Christmas, but she didn't. So I guess soon, I think.
I think she's supposed to be like 8 months pregnant now, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Corrie characters are a lot more efficient. They tend to have their babies scarily early.
Shona had her baby on Wednesdays. That's out already now, and she was
I'm glad the baby's doing okay. That's good.
I was going to ask about the relationship with Shona, because obviously coming in completely cold in terms of the dynamics. But the main thing I picked up on was when Shona and I presume her partner were
David
on the side of the road, and he was just like, oh, everything's always so doom and gloom with you. And I was like, well, she has just been in a car crash and she appears to be like quite pregnant, and like it sounds like she's also got health issues, so maybe you could be a bit kinder. But I was like, I don't know whether that was like said in jest as like this is like banter.
David is an incredibly dry sort of character, and their relationship is quite a lot based on joking with each other.
Yeah, they are sarcastic to each other. Yeah. I mean, what the issue with that is that Shona's baby has a growth on its neck, and so they have to have a specialist surgeon when she was going to give birth to make sure that the baby was okay. And this surgeon is in Weatherfield. Sure. So that's why she was panicking, because she wasn't anywhere near the hospital.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm.
And also, I don't know whether so some of the sort of shocks that happened for Corrie, I wonder if you guys were like, meh. So when David like collapsed in the hospital, were you like, oh no, or were you like
when he started having a seizure?
Yeah, I was a bit like, oh gosh, that man doesn't look very well, but that's sort of all it meant to me.
Well, I learned from listening to your podcast that he has epilepsy. I did not know that. So I just was like, he's just a bit squeamish. What's going on?
I mean, he's fine.
Literally, the next episode, he just walks in the Shona's room and's like, anyway,
Yeah, he can't drive for 12 months.
Yeah, that's literally the only outcome
But I
so
think
far.
Corrie fans would have known that he had epilepsy, and they would have gone, "Oh, he's having a seizure."
Well, I don't know. I think a lot of fans probably wouldn't have known he had epilepsy because he only ever has seizures like once a decade. He was diagnosed, I'm going to say 2008, 2009 maybe, and there has been very, 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 very few seizures.
He only
since
has
then.
epilepsy for plot purposes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, once he was out of the park,
Sure, of course, yeah.
Max, and he had an attack in the park. But yeah, he's fine. The big shock for us as well, and I guess for you, was when Kane was shot. Did either of you see that coming?
No, not at all.
No, what is really funny is how much they've immediately forgotten about. Like within a day, they're like, "You seem fine about the shotgun wound. You can get out of hospital if you want."
They're like ready to discharge him.
They literally just like David.
And then they found out this cancer, which, I mean, that's a storyline which I'm sure they'll do well. But Moira, his wife, has just finished her cancer storyline.
Oh, no.
Kane had like sort of, it wasn't a cancer storyline, but like maybe a few years ago, he had some sort of brain, or maybe it's like a benign tumor or something, like some sort of thing going on there. So, and there was it wasn't a big storyline, a small storyline about prostate cancer last year about there's a character who thought he might have prostate cancer and turned out not to, and that was, I think, in connection with like Prostate Cancer Awareness Week or something. So it's now come out that Liam, the doctor, who is Kane's unlikely best friend, thought that Kane had been tested for it. So he's like, "Well, don't worry, you won't have it because you were tested." But it turns out he wasn't tested, and so it's all like it's a bit of awareness raising about if you think you've been tested for some cancers, you might still have this cancer. So it felt a bit informational.
It was quite informational, when Kane just used like a medical acronym that Kane Dingle would definitely not know. It's like, "Oh no, I only had the BRCAP2 jab." So,
what did you think about how they revealed Kane's diagnosis or the discovery with like?
Oh, I loved that because you just don't know who Stoper is. Even when he said Mr. Dingle, I didn't know who it was because it could have been Aaron. So it's like I didn't know.
I really enjoyed that.
I was just watching it thinking, I hope it's not Corrie. I can't deal with another cancer storyline. Emmerdale can take this one. Maybe the hooded figure will be ours, and it's like, no, it wasn't. That was Emmerdale as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad we got the hooded figure, but I'd have swapped the cancer one as well. We don't need another cancer story.
I don't. We just had one with Kevin, who was not really prominent in Corriedale, but he's the brother of Carl and Debbie, who were in the car, the blonde lady.
Yeah, so he had testicular cancer earlier last year.
He's been around forever, hasn't he, Kevin?
Yeah. He's been in it 40 years or so.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you guys agreed with this or not, but Simon and I think both felt that the first half of the Corriedale episode was quite Coronation Street focused, and then the second half it was Emmerdale. So in the first one I was like, wow, I'm quite confused, and also it was very dark, so I couldn't really see what was going on. And then in the second half I was like, oh, anybody who only watches Coronation Street is going to be so bored right now because I feel like it's only our storylines that are happening.
Actually, I do have a bone to pick with you, Gemma, about that if I can. When you were like, I didn't care for the Rob Ron engagement scene. It's like, Gemma, you're going to get some enemies if you talk about. Like...
I don't think either of us really cared about that, did we?
Yeah. Sorry, everybody.
I think it's because that was kind of in the middle of the episode, wasn't it? And up until that point, we'd been quite enjoying the fact that it was very Corrie heavy.
Sure.
And then we go into this long Emmerdale scene. But to be honest, I really enjoyed all the stuff with John, even though I didn't know much of the background of it, because we really love kind of dark, villainous, murdery, serial killery types of stories. So we were properly hooked on that.
Yeah, but I mean, the Rob Ron engagement scene was enhanced by the shotgun.
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah, when
hovering in the background,
as all engagement scenes would be.
Yeah,
and it is their third or fourth engagement scene, so they get engaged a lot.
I heard of a shotgun wedding, but not a shotgun engagement.
Very good. Yeah, well, I guess the biggest thing because we should cover like how these stories are developed. Like the one that's really spiraled in Emmerdale is we saw Victoria looming over John's body and later learned that she killed him. That was all filmed by Joe, who was the guy who gave Robert a lift to get to the crash, and he's now blackmailing the Sugdens. He's blackmailed them into putting incriminating evidence onto Moira's farm, and she's now going to be framed for human trafficking.
Which is not what she needs after the year that she's had.
It's not what she needs. She's been through a lot, bless her. So the storylines have come together in that way, in the least good way. Like Joe is quite an evil character who recently been mellowing and becoming a bit nicer. He like he stole a kidney a while ago, etc. But he's obviously taken like a handbrake turn back into evil now.
But also Graham, who's back from the dead, was sort of a father figure to Joe, I think, at one point, and like was the love of Kim Tate's life, apparently, who is Joe's aunt. So it's like I think he's going to have quite a lot of storylines coming together in the next little while.
Yeah.
How much has Graham been in the show since Monday?
Not at all.
Not
Is he
at
still
all.
lurking? Oh, okay.
Really?
No, we haven't seen anything of him.
We've seen Rona on the phone to someone we
Yeah.
think probably is Graham. So Rona is the stepmom, I guess, but effectively mum of the girl who's been involved in all the county line stuff.
Yeah.
And she was going to run away with Graham when he was murdered. So they were in love and they were going to leave together. So she's got that connection.
But Rona's now with Marlon, isn't she? And I don't know whether this is going to be a horrible affair. We hate affair storylines. I don't know how you feel about them. They make me feel really sad. So I hope it's not going to be that.
On the relationship they're splitting up, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, Rona, it also described, because I mean, most of the rest of the week has just been Rona and Marlon telling everyone about the drug cartel thing over and over again. And she described it as the worst few weeks of our life. And it's like, weeks? It's been like 9 months.
It's felt like years.
And then my favourite moment, Celia, who was like the linchpin, the one who was murdered, Bob, who's been there forever, was dating her. And my favourite moment of the week was when he found out and he said, like, I'm really sad that, you know, she was doing all this. If I'd known, I wouldn't have bothered dating her. It was like, I wouldn't have bothered dating her. Seems quite a low, like, surely you'd phone the police or something, right? Like, oh, I wish I hadn't bothered.
Bob is so funny.
I think the scenes of where we got to see the slaves on the farm, and the main difference seems to be between a normal farm worker and a slave is that they just look really sad and they walk.
Yeah.
It's still their only job is moving things from one place to slightly further away. That's
and they were like, this file, that file. We're on it.
That's all they ever do on the farm.
We have a recurring segment on Dingle All The Way of like, have you actually seen any farming content? And if we have seen farming content, it is purely people moving sacks from one barn to another barn, or even just across the barn sometimes. So that's fun.
Oh, great. Yeah, I mean, most industry on Coronation Street is buttering rolls and pipes.
I love that.
It's interesting to hear that Graham's not featured too heavily, because the girl who was tied up in the back of his van.
I was going to ask about that.
We've seen bits of her this week. She's basically been loitering around the hospital looking at David and Shona.
Who's a pregnant lady.
Shona the pregnant lady, David. So, but it's been revealed a couple of days ago. Well, somebody saw her looking through the window and said, "Oh, you're a proud mother," and she said, "No, I'm a proud auntie." And then yesterday she did walk in to David and Shona's room and said, "Hi, sis." So it's a long lost, never before heard of sister of Shona. But Shona has basically said, I can't deal with this right now. You just let us recover from this and then leave us your number and then we'll get in touch with you. So there's clearly...
You're postponing that storyline till February, please.
There's some kind of history between these two. But we don't know what yet.
Shona's got like...
And they had the matching tattoos, didn't they?
Yes. Shona's background is she's a bit of a tea leaf. She came in the show... She was like in a gang and she's on the wrong side of the tracks.
Well, yeah, because it was a grooming gang story that she was involved in, but I struggle to remember what she had to do with it. I think she was kind of a victim that was also semi-helping out. I don't remember, but she's been very, very good, as in morally good, in most of the time she's been in the show. So she's not a wrong one in any way now. Maybe Jodie has still got dodgy side to her, but then she was tied up as well, so is she...
There's something going on there if you're tied up in the back of someone's van.
Was she just being transported to go and carry some sacks around the farm?
I mean, really, she looks like she could look really sad doing it.
Yeah, she does.
And that is the main thing.
It's true, she's got the chops.
Watch the face on that one, I think.
So how have any of the other like big moments or storylines in the Corriedale developed in the past week?
Well, we've got Lisa and Carla and Becky. So Becky was arrested. She's now in prison and she's blackmailing Lisa because she still loves her.
About what?
Because she's saying, well, because they were married when Becky was corrupt, and then she faked her death and went to Spain.
As you do.
Classic.
We didn't know about this, but Becky is kind of saying to her, like, where did you think all the money came from? You know, you're implicated unless you kind of... I don't know what she wants at the moment.
No.
But Carla is still mad at Lisa because she was locked in a shipping container while Lisa was kind of shacked up with Becky, and then they were both going to run off to Spain again because, you know, where else is there?
You have to go to Spain. Yeah.
So Scarlett's not reconciled yet, but we are kind of waiting for that. I think
Yes, it's an inevitability.
Yeah.
We've also had the other big development this week, apart from the Shona having a baby, which was the whole of Wednesday's episode. That was a great episode. But Thursday, quite a lot of it was focused on the Debbie and Carl story. So Carl is now... Could you remember he moved Debbie into the driver's seat before...
to like incriminate her.
Yeah. So Debbie is backing up his story that she was driving all along. And again, we're thinking it's because she's got a bit of a maternal kind of feeling over this supposed brother of hers. And so she's totally taken the rap for it, saying, yeah, he was driving at first, but then I took over because Kevin saw him driving off originally. But she's like, no, I did most of the driving. It was me who crashed. It's totally my fault.
She's been charged with death by dangerous driving.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
The crash was started by John Sugden, I'm going to say.
It was not
I was going to
fault.
say, yeah, she was not the problem. Like, I wasn't sure how advanced her dementia was, because I didn't know if she would think she was driving just because she couldn't remember, or if she's not that far advanced.
They made sure to show us, like, she looked in the mirror and she saw the bruising from the seatbelt, so she knows what seat she was sitting in.
Yeah, she's got passenger side bruises, hasn't she? But she hasn't shown anyone this. But Kevin, her brother, is absolutely adamant that Carl was driving. He was the one that crashed.
Yeah,
and
because
she's saying, no, it wasn't.
At Debbie's wedding, Carl was going to be exposed by Kevin with this video that they had of him driving the car that hit Tyrone, which is their friend, and so he's already in trouble, wasn't he, before he got to this stage? And that's why Kevin's got it out for him. Also, Carl was having an affair with his wife,
with Kevin's wife.
So he's just like a no good guy, really.
We were wondering, like, going into the episode, whether any of our villains were going to be killed off, because I had the feeling that John wasn't going to make it to the end, and that proved right. But we were wondering whether either Becky or Theo or Carl would meet their maker by the end of Corriedale. And they're still going strong.
Yeah, we just killed off all of our villains instead. So.
Yeah, but all basically off screen other than John.
Yeah, we thought Mac was going to die because there's been rumours that he's left, but and we thought he was going to die in the bunker, so he was held captive in a bunker, ironically by John, who, you know, after having been held captive in effectively a bunker in Coronation Street himself years ago, he learned a trick or two from that. But no, Max, he seems to be. He's all he thinks about currently is that he thinks that maybe his wife is pregnant with his baby. So he's moved on from the actual injuries now.
When he was in the car, I thought they were going to do like a Signs with him, you know, like that the movie where his wife is trapped but with a tree, and if they move the car, then she'll die. So, but he's all right.
But no, so Moira, who's about to be framed for human trafficking, is his sister. So he's going to be more like preoccupied with that now.
True.
Moira and Kane are together.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, they've been back and forth a lot over the years, but they've been together for a good few years now.
And Kane's like still doing his diagnosis and working out how he's going to progress with the...
Yeah, well, he keeps trying to leave hospital, and then they're like, but we are still running tests, and he's like, okay, I need to get out. I think he really wants to, like, avenge John's death. Not avenge John's death, like, get to the bottom of the stuff with John.
John killed Kane's son. So that was his first murder. Well, it was manslaughter, but that's the first death he caused.
Definitely died. So
his hand was found under the ice when the limo went through it in the ice.
That's who that was.
We did watch that.
Okay.
It all comes full circle.
We did.
No, I don't think we watched that episode.
I think we did.
We've seen it.
I think you did. You mentioned it in the Emmerdale Tour podcast. I think you did watch it.
I do often get a bit jealous of some of Emmerdale's stunts, because I still think that, like, the Hotton bypass crash is kind of soap,
the best stunt ever.
And even that, and the lake crash last year, I thought that looked really, really well done.
They did that so well. I can't believe it was in the car park. They did that so well.
It was so clever.
We've got the tram crash at least for Corrie. That's
true. Soap royalty, that tram crash. Yeah.
How long ago was that? That was a long time ago, right?
15 years, just this past month.
Yeah.
I don't think they're ever going to top that, really. I mean, it was really... the thing is, it's like, there's only a certain number of disasters you can really have. And I don't think... We talked about this yesterday. I'm not sure that Corrie's had a big car crash like the one we saw in Corriedale. They've had a few smashes and, you know, a few cars crashing, but nothing like we
No,
saw in
no
Corriedale.
kind of pile-ups as far as I can remember.
So I don't know whether you thought, watching it as Emmerdale fans, oh, this feels a bit like we've already done this kind of story.
Yeah, I mean, Lizzie wasn't watching when the Hutton crash happened, but I think what was so good about the Hutton crash was that it did really brilliantly bring together so many different storylines at exactly the right stage of those storylines.
Right.
And so this one felt a bit like, it's a great stunt. I don't think it's worked as well, like storyline wise. It did work well for Charity and Mac and for the John, but the whole like Ray thing didn't really work, as we talked about. So it didn't feel as perfectly a meeting point, but but the Hutton bike crash was like 9 years ago, maybe. So it's like, yeah, we're ready for another big pile up. I think it's fine.
I think that like the same thing happened with the tram crash, where it fundamentally changed or like developed completely new storylines. Whereas I don't think Corriedale did that for either soap.
No.
It kind of it threw a wrench in the works, and some things have changed because of it. But it's not like a fundamental shift, really.
Yeah, and certainly in Emmerdale, none of the things that have shifted had anything to do with the car crash. Like it was Graham appearing and it was John dying. Like, and those things didn't have anything to do with the car crash.
Yeah.
Although I did wonder, and I said this in our most recent episode, whether that final scene with Chaz in the taxi, it's like I feel like they've got chemistry. Like maybe they'll have an off-screen affair, and we'll just find out about it later. It was a way for like the universes to keep in touch. I don't know. If you sensed any vibes between them or not.
No, Tim is part of a very beloved couple with Sally. And Sally, previously to that, was in a couple with Kevin, and they were like the most solid couple. And I can't remember which producer came in and said...
that was Brian Park, I think.
Brian Park was like, I need to wreck the best marriage on Corrie. And so they to break them up. So they've been broken up, ever since, and Sally's now with Tim. So if they were to break that up, I think people would get really mad. Because
I
think Sally and Tim are pretty safe.
Tim is a pretty laid back kind of guy. I think he'd be the same with anybody as he was with her in the taxi.
He seemed nice,
yeah.
From our end, Chaz, who was in the taxi, is engaged to Liam, who's the doctor. But they're really, really mismatched, and they don't appear to get on the rare occasions when they do see each other. It's like they're just talking at cross purposes, and we're all like, obviously they're not going to get married.
Yeah, nobody wants them to be together. We're all ready for that relationship to be together, including both the fictional characters in it do not want to be in that relationship, as far as we can tell.
Yeah, well, you can't have Tim. Sorry.
No,
fine. I just thought it was a nice way.
There is obviously this link between Jodie now and Graham, and the idea that Graham is never going to come into Coronation Street, despite the link to this new character that we got, is odd. He must be he's going to be talked about. We're going to find out what she was doing in the back of his van.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a lingering connection there, and we were kind of joking also about the idea that had Charity had her baby on the crossover, maybe her and Shona could have done a bit of baby swapping.
Gosh, that'd be so good.
As we said, Shona's baby did have a massive growth on its neck, so I think they probably would.
You would spot that, yeah.
Yeah.
The fourth possible father into the mix for Charity.
Exactly. Poor Charity is confused enough about the paternity of this child. It's like, it's actually a complete stranger.
I do wonder how much they discussed, like, properly cementing the two together with, like, maybe swapping characters or something. I do think they're gonna...
That would have been good.
I think they're gonna revisit that at some point. It's too tempting.
I hope so. It'd be fun.
Yeah, Hollyoaks and Brookside did that back in the day, didn't they?
Yeah.
One went from one to the other.
I think what they really want to do is make people watch both soaps.
Yeah.
And I'm not totally sure that Corriedale has done enough to make Corrie fans watch Emmerdale and vice versa. I don't know what you think.
No.
I would agree
I'm
with you.
Yeah. Although amusingly, Digital Spy this morning released a list of 15 suspects for who killed Ray, and 15? The last one of those was Jodie. They're like, maybe it was Jodie.
Yeah.
It's like, well,
why not? Yeah. I mean, she was too busy running into trees. Why do we have to have her?
Well, I was a bit confused about like which show she belonged to, because she was just sort of an anonymous woman tied up in a van, and I was like, well, that happens quite a lot in Emmerdale, and I thought she might be ours, and then I was like, oh, we didn't see her again. I guess.
Then we saw the tattoo. It's like, no, okay, she's yours. Okay.
Yeah.
That was another problem with it being so dark as well, wasn't it? Because when they showed Jodie's tattoo, we were like squinting and going, "Is that the same as Shona's?" I can't really tell.
Is that dirt?
We did have the lights off when we were watching it, so it was not too bad.
Wish I thought of that. Yeah,
that was a wise idea.
Maybe
sure.
Jodie's going to be better in Corrie because there aren't as many trees to run into. I think
it's a real hazard, and you can't move for them.
I think there's only one tree in Coronation Street.
Yes.
there's totally unrelated to any of this. There's a question I want to raise about, we had the iconic meeting of Ken and Eric. I think obviously more iconic for Ken, really, because I don't know how well known Eric is outside of Emmerdale. Maybe he is, but I was looking up. Obviously, I know who Cavallo is, but I was looking up how old he was, and I saw that the actor is 93 and the character is 78. And I was thinking, does that mean when he started he was a 28-year-old playing a 13-year-old?
No, the character is 78.
Oh, Wikipedia lied to me. Okay, or not, maybe it wasn't even Wikipedia. It might have been Google AI lied to me.
There's a few years difference. William Roach is a couple of years older than Ken, but
okay,
not like that.
Yeah, why was Google telling me he was like late 70s, 78? And so I was like, surely not.
He just Google's AO mode.
Yeah, I need to get rid of that.
He was in the first episodes of Corriedale, he was like a student.
Yes.
So he was going to university. So we've
okay.
seen him squander his incredibly expensive education over the many years. He's not done really much with it.
No.
Well, he was the editor.
We've all squandered our expensive education. It's
it's a safe space for that. Yeah, I just couldn't believe he was 93. He looks incredible.
I know.
Great.
Yeah.
We've got to see him a few times, haven't we, in person?
Yes.
And he is just like just on it.
He's still very, very on the ball.
Yeah.
Sure.
Does he still have a lot of stories and things in Corrie?
He has had some sort of, I'd say, mid stories.
So,
Last year he was nearly killed by Cassie.
Yeah, there was a poisoning storyline where Cassie, who was hanging around with Steve in Corriedale, she was Ken's carer and was kind of putting, what was she putting into his antihistamine?
She was putting some kind of like medicine
into his
to make him sleepy because she wanted to keep her job. So it wasn't like no hard feelings.
Yeah, I mean, he does a lot of sitting down, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Ken?
Yeah.
But I got the impression from watching the Christmas to New Year's week of Emmerdale that Eric is being given a bit more to do, but he is, is he in the early 80s, is Eric?
Yeah, the character has just turned 80.
Oh, okay.
But it seems like he has been ancient forever. Like, even in the plane crash episode in 1993, he was playing an old, quite confused man. And we were like, that was ages ago now. Like, how are you still going?
That's funny.
I think he was younger than I am now in it. But I mean, Emmerdale in general, I think British soaps in general, are not always I think Coronation Street's better, actually, than like Emmerdale doesn't give their older characters much story, and we've often had older characters who pop up for like one line a month or something. But Eric does get a bit more. He's just had we might have seen this. I think it was after Christmas, a bizarre marriage to Gary.
I couldn't work out what was going on.
It was for tax reasons.
Okay. I mean, I was surprised by the number of Christmas puddings I had left over.
That's
I'd
true.
really like to get my hands on one of those. But and we have the history of the marriage.
So he is trying to like safeguard some money for his. They call him his grandson. He's actually not his grandson, but effectively is. And he thought the best way to do this for some reason would be to have a shotgun fake marriage with someone. But as people pointed out, he recently lost all his money through a Bitcoin scam. So I don't know what money he's even trying to save.
Okay. So who's it? She's married to? What's her name?
Kerry.
So her daughter, who died in the limousine through the ice, was Eric's foster daughter for a few years when she first came into the show. So that's sort of why they're a family unit of sorts.
Yeah. And Kerry sort of was his cleaner and then ended up moving in because he's got Parkinson's, so she was like trying to support him as well.
But again, his Parkinson's is very storyline appropriate, pops up and then.
It's intermittent Parkinson's, I guess.
Right. So she was wearing the white dress to the wedding, and then she said it was to fake their picture.
Yeah.
Stuff, but nobody seemed that surprised that she was wearing white to a wedding.
She's quite unhinged. Right. So like we love her. Like she's not had much to do in recent years, but she's a really fun, quite bizarre character. So like she would do that sort of thing. She was sort of in a relationship with Jay. But
there were a few vibes there that I didn't really.
Yeah, but it was horrible and nobody wanted it. So we're like, we don't.
It was bad. It was really bad
because they've been like enemies for years, and sort of not like big level evil, but like petty.
Right, yeah.
Minor blackmailing.
They just really don't like each other, so it wasn't believable that they got together.
It was interesting what you said about the impression that Corrie gives more for his older characters to do, because I wouldn't particularly say that's the case. Okay. I mean, Rita is definitely one who will be brought out for once a month if you're lucky to order a drink in the Rovers, and that's about all she does, isn't it? Although Roy, and how he's in his 70s now, isn't he? Roy's still a very major player, so I think he's probably our.
But it's all relative, though.
I suppose so.
Because I don't know. Yeah. We don't watch Emmerdale enough to see.
And we also have Evelyn, Maureen Littman, who she's kind of on and off the show at the moment, isn't she?
She just phones them up and says, "I want to be in a scene."
I think, yeah,
and that's her right. She's an icon. She can do that.
Yeah.
I was so sad we didn't. I mean, maybe they've released it. I need to go and find it. But one of the proposed couples was Nicola from Emmerdale and Roy from Corrie, Nicola's one of our favorite characters. She's like she's aging into sort of busybody territory, but she's always been like quite bitchy and sharp and like quite, but also a real heart to her when she needs to, and she'll fight for the people she loves, that sort of thing. That sort of character. But she's always like snide little comments, and I thought, I mean, I know more from sort of the Roy and Hayley era, I guess, because that was such a big deal. But I think they would have had a lovely dynamic together, and I'd love to have seen that.
I'm sure they'll all come out.
They have to.
Yeah, I'm
There's
sure.
no way they're not releasing
I wonder
them.
if they're going to do a DVD.
That would be fun.
So I've seen the Sam. I can't remember who Sam was with.
I was
going to
say I really enjoyed the one with Sam Dingle.
Yes, with Kirk. Yeah.
Yeah. Why not do a DVD?
Because nobody buys DVDs anymore.
But I think collectors do. Like, they sold us a blooming anniversary coin. We bought a stupid coin. It's horrible. It's horrible.
We hate it, but we bought it.
I can look at it and go, look at how low you've sunk. You bought this.
Yeah, and like the price markup on a DVD, they can make a tiny profit even if they only sell that to like 200 people. They'll be fine.
Print on demand down in the gift shop.
Yeah,
turn it onto a CD for you while you're waiting.
But yeah, I did see that when they brought those votes. I don't know anything about Kirk, but it's like no one's voting for Sam. Like, we like Sam, but he's no one's favorite character.
I would vote for Sam. He's up there for me.
Yeah,
he's very sweet.
Kirk is a type of, he's like the token comedy thick character.
Yeah,
same as Sam.
From Sam, who doesn't really ever have any stories at all. They bring him in every now and then to say something funny.
They used to write better for him.
They used to write a lot better.
He's just not really funny anymore.
Yeah.
Well, Sam's been in it for like 30 years or something, and he never got stories. But the last 5 years, he has started getting stories. I think because he's married this woman called Lydia, who was more, I don't know. She's also brought in as a funny character, a comedy character, but it's got more depth to her, I guess. So it's been quite fun to see. Like, you can be rescued from the once a month funny line territory of a soap into actually maybe B stories rather than A stories.
Your cast must be smaller than Corrie's.
I think it's only a little bit smaller.
It's about 50
I think there's like
people,
50 something.
Like
80 or so.
So now we've got the same. Emmerdale and Corrie have got the same time on screen, haven't they? I just wonder whether your characters get more time to have their stories compared to Corrie characters, because it's just
maybe
fast. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't have many, because I think they also have got rid of a few. We don't have many who only come up like once a month. We've got like Rodney, who's barely ever in it, and a handful of like Claudette maybe, but. If you're a Dingle, you're going to get all the storylines, basically. But there's no one who's like completely languishing, except for like 1,000 anonymous children who we never see and just hear tell of.
So many
we got some of them.
Yeah. And teenagers who just like inexplicably disappear for like a year and then come back as if nothing has changed. Like, I'm doing my GCSEs now, and you're like, are you?
We have got that too, for sure. We found that Corrie's been doing more in the last 5 years or so with like the late teen characters. And it's like they're trying to get more people, maybe trying to attract the younger viewers by having a bit more for the sort of 18-year-olds-ish to do. Does Emmerdale do much with that sort of age range?
Well, April, who's been the centre of this drug story, and before that went missing and was homeless, the character's 15. I'm not sure how old the actor is, but she's been like huge this year, and that's the big one. The shame is like we've got a few others who are around the like 16, 17 age, but none of them are very good at actors. So like, I think
I really like Arthur. I know that you do.
Arthur's the best of them, and they killed one of them off just before we started watching, and who hadn't done anything for years before that, so it didn't make any real difference.
One of them went on a cruise for sort of 2 years or something recently. So.
But I'm hoping they just start. I said this in our last episode. I want them to recast all of them and then give us like good teen storylines.
Yeah, I mean we've had so many of them now, and
be careful what you wish for.
It does feel like they can only write for one type of character. It's like a naughty teenage boy who's up to no good, and then there's a teenage girl who's on the wrong side of the tracks, but she's got a heart of gold, and they keep coming out with the same characters kind of come and gone.
Yeah, and we think it's been a little bit to the detriment of kind of characters our age.
Yeah,
that's a shame. Yeah,
I mean, as years go on and off, everyone has ebbs and flows and peaks and troughs of how much they appear, don't they? So
yeah.
Well, it's an interesting thing coming to British soaps relatively late, because I watched Neighbours from 1998 until it finished about a month ago.
Yeah.
And that one, the cast size was only like 20 to 25, and everyone would get the same amount of story, basically. So you wouldn't have like the popular characters who get more stories. It was really shared between everyone. And it's so interesting then to start watching British soaps where it is like you've got your key characters who always get the big stories, you get characters who get nothing. It's like, oh, like it must feel more awkward on set in the British soaps than it does on the Australian
hierarchy.
ones.
I really wonder how much of that is because of the awards. Because they're always trying to get awards, and so they kind of, I don't know how much they really write and plan around them, but I'm thinking quite a lot, because you've got your A stories and you've got your A characters, and then it kind of goes down in tiers, and you end up with like some stories, some characters are only in a story for like a couple of weeks in a whole year, because they know one isn't going to get an award. There's no point really putting much effort into that. I don't know.
Interesting.
I'm not sure. I do have my suspicions about that.
That's such a good point. Yeah, and such a shame as well, because sometimes you get them, you think, oh, actually, like we've got a character called Manpreet, who I think is one of the best actors on the show. She's so good at comedy, she's good at drama, and she gets almost nothing to do. And I think you said you watched some of the serial killer. Mina is her sister,
right?
And yeah,
loved her.
And she's one of those ones who I'm like, she could do so much more, but she's never going to, because she's not like. She's not in her 20s, and she's not a dingle.
Yeah, I mean, I think Corrie's does a good job of like having a wide range of character ages, and I think that probably women in their like late 40s, 50s get quite a lot of.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, well, we do if they're dingles, but not if they're not dingles.
Not if they're not. Yeah. Fab. Well, we should probably wrap things up around there, if that's okay with you guys. I don't know if you had any final thoughts that you wanted to share before we head our separate ways.
I mean, we could talk for hours about this. We covered all the main bases.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
it's been really a lot of fun. Thank you,
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's really nice to finally chat properly, and like, I think we spoke before we started recording about like International Soap Week and how grateful we were for you guys setting that up and like spearheading that, because it's such a nice way to bring together people who are invested in all the different soaps. So we're looking forward to that this year as well.
Yeah, well, thank you guys. You did so much for it as well, didn't you?
Yeah, it was really fun. Yeah.
So, if you have got any ideas for how to improve on this year's, let me know, because I'd love to hear some suggestions.
Yeah, that's fun. That's really cool.
Yeah, and if anyone's got any Corriedale thoughts they'd like to share with us, you can get in touch at dinglealltheway.pod@gmail.com. How do people get in touch with you guys?
conversationstreet@gmail.com. Is that right, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
You look like I was saying the wrong thing.
No, gmail.com is our address.
Or you can find us online.
We're on Twitter, and we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube.
We're not the Top Gear one, we're the other one.
Yes. Yeah, Top Gear had that segment called Conversation Street. We don't
Oh, really?
Yeah. They totally nicked it off
after
us.
Wow.
Totally nicked it.
That's so rude.
But we've had that.
Yeah, we have, yeah.
I did find there was some sort of like Christmas countdown based in Dingle in Ireland that was doing lots of Dingle All The Way stuff, but to be fair, they were before us, and we inadvertently stole from them. So.
Well, I doubt they'll ever find us. It'll be fine. Amazing. Well, thanks so much for your time, and hopefully we'll cross over again in the future.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye. See ya.